let's talk a little bit about social media optimization. I think it's important to be aware of the influence and the huge impact social media can make on your web pages as you build them. And having that component for marketing's sake is super important. So, I mean, I first thought of, Facebook here, and you can see on this graph at 2020, it's saying that we're up to 1.69 billion users. And that's substantial. I mean, that's just a crazy ton of people. Most people have accounts, and again, the amount of active users is, to be determined, but it still has a significant amount of people. And being able to reach these people through social media is super important. And here, you might ask, what kind of content would you want to post? And, in this article, it talks about adjacent content, meaning if I had, let's say, a fishing rod company, maybe I want to post awesome trips one could go on, or tips and tricks on how to tie a special fishing lure. You want to respond to people as they, throw stuff out there and create this community, right? Non-promotional company information, jokes, memes, stuff like that. You want to do it frequently. These posts don't live very long, probably more a day or two, and then you kind of lose that engagement. In here it's saying, ask for help for things, monitor and listen your social channels, keep stuff simple, gamify, kind of encourage people. Maybe you want to have some kind of contest or something, stuff like that. So when you're looking at your data, if you log in your social media, there's two types of data you really, want to look at. Quantitative means something like hard numbers we can count, and qualitative is more like the sentiment behind your user. So, for example, quantitative data might be how many followers or fans or things like that you have. Engagement might be how many comments you get back on something. Timing, how fast. You can even look at the click-through rate. If you post a link and if they're clicking on it, we can track that. But it's much more difficult to calculate the influence of your page, or the sentiment or the feeling behind it, or the conversation drivers, or the kind of conversations that play through your social media. You really want to have and spread yourself across the board on these accounts, right? First, you need to look at who your target demographics are. Are these older people? Are these younger people? Is this men or women? Because there's different networks, different social media networks that definitely you should be focusing on, depending on what your target demographics are. All right. So Facebook, for example, tends to be a little bit older. The average, user is 41 years old. A little bit more female than male. You can see how many friends, their likes, different things like that. They're using Facebook for groups and pages to message each other through Facebook Messenger. I don't know how many people are actually using events, to be honest with you, but you can build a big community in there. Groups are a great way to build a community. There's a lot of Facebook groups out there that you can become part of and are highly active. And if you have, a business that you feel could add value to that, go in and represent in some of these groups. And you can drive a lot of links and a lot of buzz on your company through that. You can see here, 72% of their users are between 18 and 49, typically students, more females than males again. And Twitter's a great place. I think we're all, aware of Twitter, and how that's used. We may not have accounts, but I think we're all aware of Trump's usage of Twitter, right? YouTube and Pinterest. YouTube, for me, is the up-and-coming search engine almost. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if you ever want to look how to change your oil or do this or that or fix whatever, maybe it's makeup tips. I mean, so many people are using YouTube, and being able to, communicate your message across video and audio versus an article is so much more important. I mean, you're watching this on YouTube, right? So if you do have, something, a business that you can take advantage of YouTube and having that, super important. And if you do have something more of a DIY, type of business, you might want to look into Pinterest, especially if you have a lot of females, demographics, things like that. Pinterest is definitely a place to look. Blogging, definitely has its place as well. You guys can go launch your own blog and integrate it into your own site. You could, have a side blog or guest blog or things like that. But it's a great place to build links, to build high quality content that people may link to. Typically, I'll recommend try to house that underneath your domain name if you can. But a lot of businesses have it, news, things like that, and blogs are great. Last but not least, you probably shouldn't be excluding forums that are out there. Great place if you have, a business that, there's typically a lot of forums for different types of businesses. And so if you can go in and represent your company and give helpful information to the consumers there, that's really advantageous. Instagram's a great thing. A lot of people move that way, and so many. Vine I probably wouldn't care about, or Tumblr. Quora maybe a little bit. Reddit is another good place you should look at. Stack Overflow if you want to be a little bit more geeky. Some other things like that. But you definitely, I guess the point I'm trying to make here, figure out who your target demographics are. Go represent your company and provide helpful information in those spaces, and it'll come back to you.